What if I told you you could rent your property for $1,500 a month or $3,000 a month? Airbnb versus long-term rental. Let's get into it. Hi, I am LaShonda Solomon, associate broker and real estate consultant, assisting buyers and sellers navigate the Metro Atlanta real estate market. Which rental strategy makes more sense? Airbnb or short-term rentals or long-term traditional rentals? Today, we're going to get into the pros, the cons, and the profit potential to determine which is best for your real estate portfolio. Let's consider Airbnbs or short-term rentals. First, you can rent at a nightly or weekly or even sometimes monthly rate. They are popular in tourist hotspots, college towns, and other hot metropolitan areas. You can earn a higher nightly rate, but you also have a higher turnover. Long-term leases, on the other end, are typically 12-month leases, predictable income, and fewer management headaches. So, what's more profitable? Well, the answer to that depends on the property, the market, the time, and your risk tolerance level. Let's say that you can rent your Airbnb property for $150 a night or $3,000 a month. Sounds like good money. But let's not forget the expenses. You have to consider the cleaning fees of about $300. You have your utilities such as lights, water, gas, internet. That might run you an additional $250 a month. Then you have to pay Airbnb their 15%, and you run the risk of any vacancy losses. Now, in that same unit, you could rent it for $2,000 a month. The tenant pays the utilities, the light, water, gas, internet service. The tenant is paying that. There is no Airbnb fee unless you have a property manager, and then you have to pay the property management fee. And you'll have limited turnover with a long-term lease. Let's look at the pros and cons. Airbnbs have a higher earning potential. Airbnbs are more suitable for luxury areas, and they typically are furnished units. And you can be flexible with your renting, as you can block off dates for your own personal use. Nevertheless, there are several drawbacks with Airbnbs. The first includes the regulations. A lot of jurisdictions are banning or charging high fees on Airbnbs because they come with such high risks. Neighborhoods don't like the transientness that Airbnbs bring. Airbnbs are more time consistent. You're going to have to put more effort into managing the property, managing the dates, making sure you have a cleaner to keep the property clean and ready for your next short-term rental. And you also have the furnishing and maintenance costs. I've heard stories where Airbnb tenants are stealing things like TVs and towels and major things like that you'll be responsible for replacing. Here are the pros for long-term rentals. First of all, it's more steady income. It's a lower turnover rate, and they're easier to manage. Some of the drawbacks to long-term rentals include lower monthly income than you would with an Airbnb. Additionally, you can't increase the rent during the lease period. You have to wait until the next lease renewal. And you also have the risk of non-paying tenants during the year. And depending on where you live, it may be sometimes difficult to get them out of the property. Airbnbs are market dependent. What that means is in Atlanta, for example, it's easier to rent an Airbnb downtown Atlanta because you have all the activities going on, the games, the tourist spots, all of that stuff. It's more difficult to rent an Airbnb in a suburban area because there may not be a lot of activities that are of interest to a tourist. So which is better for you? Quick ROI or return on income, more control over the property, and more hands-on income? Well, then an Airbnb might be the better choice for you. However, if you want more passive cash flow or more stable income, then a long-term rental might be the best option for you. One thing to mention is that you can combine these strategies. For example, you can rent to traveling nurses who rent for 30 to 90 days. Therefore, you're getting that quick income that you would normally get from an Airbnb, but your turnover may be less because these people are going to stay in the unit for months at a time. So that's another consideration. So which strategy do you think would be more profitable to you? Drop a comment below, and be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more real estate information. Thanks for watching.